Well, the world is on fire in so many ways. There's the war between Israel and Hamas. There's the war between Russia and Ukraine. I see news today that Xi Jinping has told Joe Biden, just said to him, that he plans to conquer Taiwan by any means necessary. And that's just foreign affairs and war. Of course, the real concern for most Canadians, Americans, Brits, and many others around the West is inflation. And it's due to some of the same reasons in all the jurisdictions I just mentioned. The government printing money by the hundreds of billion or trillions of dollars, basically shutting down the economy during the lockdowns and then juicing it with fake money. Well, of course, that's going to mean inflation takes root. And then add to it carbon taxes. And you heard them when I talked to Geert Wildens, nitrogen taxes. They're taxing the elements in the periodical table as if if you tax a chemical, the world will change. So all of these things, high housing prices, high grocery prices, high gas prices, it's tough to get ahead. I see that the average person in Canada won't even get into a house till they're almost 40. How do you start a family? I say all this because the world is on fire. And what's the last thing we need? Well, let me read to you a headline from our friends at the Taxpayers Federation. I'm sorry to do this to you folks because it'll put you in a tailspin of depression. The headline is simply, more federal tax hikes in 2024. Are you serious? Serious as a heart attack. And joining us now to talk about it is our friend Kris Sims, the Alberta director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Kris, good to see you again. Although you bring with us bad news, I should have known. But according to your calculations, taxes on Canadians are going up by thousands of dollars in the new year. Tell me the details.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're the bearer of bad news. We wish we weren't. So the big one, let's start with the big one, Ezra, is of course the carbon tax. This is Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's baby, and he just loves it. It's a mandatory minimum carbon tax. It's applied now across the country, including in the maritime provinces, which caused a bit of a dust up a few weeks ago. And he's cranking it up. So as of right now, if you went outside and filled up your vehicle with gasoline, it would cost you 14 cents extra per liter just in the carbon tax. He's going to crank that up to 17 cents per liter. Now, even if you don't drive, I guarantee everybody watching eats and uses things. So trucks bring all of our groceries and all of our supplies. And trucks, those big rigs, they run on diesel. The carbon tax on diesel is going up to 21 cents per liter. So this is really eye-watering. If you're filling up a couple of those tanks on a big rig truck, it's about $160, $170 extra just in this carbon tax.
Yeah, and that's where the inflation comes from. You can't say you're fighting inflation when you're printing money like a madman and then jacking up a tax on literally everything. I'm looking at your press release here. You just talked about the carbon tax, which is atrocious. They have one called the alcohol escalator tax. And for a second, I thought that means you can't, if you take a beer on an escalator, they'll charge you extra. But it's even worse than that. Tell me about this alcohol escalator tax. What's that all about?
Yeah, it sounded like one of those antiquated laws where, you can't trade a penny on a moving train or something. No, it just means it goes up automatically, which is a real kick in the teeth, because this means that members of parliament don't need to have the guts to kind of show up to the House of Commons, maybe on Zoom, maybe not, and vote to increase your alcohol taxes. No, it's locked in. It goes up and up and up every single year, and it's supposed to be by the rate of inflation. And so the rate of inflation is terrible right now. A lot of folks may not realize this, but if you purchase beer, around 50%, half of that is taxes. Yeah. If you're drinking a glass of wine or a box of wine, hopefully with a friend, that's around 75% taxes.
Right.
And if you're using liquor, like spirits, like whiskey and vodka, it's already 80% taxes.
Yeah.
It's really eye-watering. And unfortunately, our taxes on alcohol are automatically going up again next year.
That's $100 million a year right there, according to your release.
Yep.
And there's one more tax, and it's the worst because it is literally a tax on jobs. And that's the payroll taxes. What's up for that? Those are the things that are deducted from your employer and from your paycheck. every month. You know what? I remember when I graduated from university, and I was this right-wing guy in class, and I would always argue with my other students. And the first time I bumped into my classmates after we all graduated and worked, they were just shocked because they thought they were going to be making this salary here that they had negotiated, but they looked at their paycheck and they were getting this salary here. They had never stepped outside the bubble of unreality, and it was amazing. And all it took was 2 weeks to turn these socialists that I had sparred with in university into fire-breathing capitalists, just because they felt robbed. Well, that's going up again, and those were baby lawyers, so don't have too much sympathy for them. But these CPP and EI taxes, that's on everyone. That is on blue collar jobs. That's on service jobs. That is, I mean, maybe we shouldn't spare any sympathy for lawyers. They can afford it. But this is on everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's not just on the workers themselves. As you pointed out, it's on the employers. It's on the job creators. This is, Ayn Rand's nightmare, where they're just increasing payroll taxes for the punishment of what? Employing people, being productive. And so this is usually referred to as CPP, but they are payroll taxes. Some bureaucrats try to jump up and down and say it's not a tax. Well, right on the Government of Canada website, they're listed as payroll taxes, and you can't opt out of them, and the government forces them on you. So sorry, that's a tax. That's unfortunately going up as well. And this is weird. There's a special new secondary CPP, and it's kind of strange, and they've got this weird formula, Ezra, and it's only affecting people who earn between like $68,000 and $72,000. We don't yet know why this weird window, this weird bubble bracket is existing for this new CPP point 2, but it's there for next year. So it's definitely something we're investigating. At the end of the day, you're going to have more coming off of your paycheck in payroll taxes in 2024.